Life is seldom quiet. The soundscape of nature is an endless flow of rhythms and tunes, concerts of passion and wrath. It plays for no distinct audience, and yet it never halts. It crescendos, it falls, it dances to its own melody. And those whose ears are tuned join in, eager to serenade to the theater of life. The achievements of the Hunters Guild are often framed as results of their ceaseless effort and lust for knowledge. But to give credit only to scholars and hunters is to erase a third party that, in nearly all relevant discoveries, provided invaluable help to guild operations. Because at every turn, hunters and scholars were always assisted by the natives of whatever region they were investigating. Without the help of local village elders, shamans, lore keepers, farmers, workers, and many more, the guild's work would be sloppier, slower, and less comprehensive than it currently, thankfully, is. This remained true for the Island District investigation, and was highlighted in the discovery of a specific monster species. After the guild had surveyed much of the accessible island region, a research team noted that in various locations, bundles of vibrant green feathers had been found. While they were unusually large and quite pretty, the initial assessment by the guild was to attribute them to some kind of large tropical bird. But at a glance, various native elders of the Island District and the Terosu region remarked that they resembled the feathers found on armor worn by an ancient, poorly recorded tribe. Oral history speaks of a nomadic warrior culture, not native to the islands nor Terosu, that traveled the middle continent in search of riches. These tribesmen were noted to wear elaborate, beautiful armor adorned with large green feathers. The guild's historic record had nearly no information on this culture, but their traces could be found within the histories and folktales of various indigenous cultures in the region, and the green feathered armor was a consistent element in all of these stories. Eventually, the guild decided that if something was large and fierce enough to adorn the armors of a lost warrior tribe, then it was probably worth investigating properly. Around the same time, panicked reports began emerging from a far-off place on the old continent, a desert region called the Sandy Plains. Here, guards manning the local watchtowers reported anomalous monster behavior. Packs of birdwyvern and herbivores running amok, agitated by what witnesses described as a song. A hunting party was sent to quell the incident, and in the process, the monster responsible for both the song and the luscious green feathers was discovered. It was a birdwyvern, given the name Qurupeco by the guild. Even among feathered birdwyvern, the Qurupeco sports an exceptional look. Its scale coat is broadly covered by colorful feathers, generally green and yellow, with accents of blue and a large red spot on its chest. It has a distinct large yellow beak and a folded tail that can be expanded into a fan-like shape. The exact coloration of its feathers can vary to some degree based on where an individual Qurupeco is from. It has been sighted in 3 hunting grounds so far, and in each of them, its feathers look slightly different. the feathers of the Moga Island morph are generally considered the most beautiful and fetch the highest prices. Due to its vibrant looks and somewhat docile appearance, the general public and even some novice hunters have taken a liking to the Qurupeco, nicknaming it the colorful bird. Some boastful civilians even attempt to capture the wyvern whenever it appears near them, wishing to pluck some of its valuable feathers. Encounters like those do not end well, because, as veteran hunters know all too well, the Qurupeco is anything but harmless. This omnivorous bird wyvern usually wanders the lands alone, flying from place to place in search of anything it can devour. Fish, nuts, fruits, the occasional rodent. It is not a picky eater. It is also not a fighter. Whenever possible, it will simply elect to fly away from danger. But should the Qurupeco be provoked, or find itself in a situation where escape isn't an immediate option, it will deploy the ability that has made it so infamous in guild halls. The red spot on the Qurupeco's chest is not simply a discoloration, but a pouch that is connected to the lungs and that can be inflated at will. Doing so, the Qurupeco can store massive amounts of air after inhaling. Simultaneously, the frontal upper section of the beak is elastic and can expand into a structure roughly reminiscent of a trumpet. When expanded, the Qurupeco's beak forms a complex network of internal tunnels and walls that can amplify and coordinate vibrations with extreme precision. Initially, this transformation serves as a visual threat display, the red color of the pouch and the size of the beak aiming to intimidate whoever is causing trouble. Should that not be enough, the Qurupeco will begin funneling air into its beak, creating various cries and calls that string together into a song of sorts. Simultaneously, it will start dancing rhythmically. This ability serves multiple purposes. For one, the songs and dances it performs seem to enhance its strength. How exactly this works is unknown, but many hunters have suggested it probably functions like the hunting horn weapons used by the guild, where music is used to encourage listeners and unleash their hidden potential for a short while. Once enhanced through its song, the Qurupeco can put up quite a fight. Its massive beak can cause severe damage through pecking, and the wyvern can slap enemies with its wide tail, whose inner membrane alights in a blood-red color when the creature is agitated. Its most destructive weapon, however, lies in its wings. The claws at the tip of its wings have evolved into large, flint-like structures rich in natural minerals. These flints will, when clicked against each other, produce a flame spark that can set opponents on fire. This spark has a very limited range, however, so the Qurupeco is often observed lunging at targets while clicking its flints to try and get the spark onto them. This ability is further enhanced by a mucus that the Qurupeco produces in its mouth, which is highly flammable and combusts nearly instantly when in contact with fire. By spitting this substance at foes and then sparking its flints at them, the Qurupeco can burn its enemies quite effectively. But this is, in many ways, only the secondary use of its vocal apparatus, and not the one that the Qurupeco is mainly known for. The highly delicate structure of the beak allows it to create a variety of sounds, and even mimic sounds that the Qurupeco has memorized. Using this ability, this bird wyvern can imitate the calls of other monsters to summon them to its location. These imitations are extremely convincing and cannot be distinguished by the human ear, and they will almost always successfully trick the imitated monster species into coming to investigate. In doing so, the Qurupeco can use other monsters as reinforcements or distractions to slip away into safety. It can even use its encouraging dances to enhance the strength of the monsters it calls, another analog to the guild's hunting horn. Curiously, not every Qurupeco can imitate the same monster calls. While a wide variety of possible monster calls have been confirmed, no individual Qurupeco has ever shown to perform them all. It appears that every Qurupeco has a unique repertoire of monster calls it has memorized, resulting from which species it has actually encountered across its life. It also seems that a Qurupeco only has the ability to remember a limited number of songs. One consistent observation has been that older individuals seem to be able to call stronger, more ferocious monster species. While young and adolescent Qurupeco will summon small monsters such as Mealinx and Jaggy, older Qurupeco have been noted to mimic the calls of Diablos and even the Wraths. It's even been said that the Qurupeco is able to imitate human speech, but that has so far not been confirmed by the guild. While the ability to summon aid of this magnitude is extremely powerful, it also has its downsides. Dancing and singing takes a lot of concentration, and the Qurupeco can easily be stunned and dazed out of it by loud sounds or physical pain. Vital knowledge for any hunter aiming to take this creature on. Additionally, the monsters summoned by the Qurupeco are not per se allies of it. While the Qurupeco is usually quite good at escaping the chaos it created, it does happen that the monster it called decides to attack it instead of helping, which can end very badly for the bird wyvern. Outside of these skirmishes, the Qurupeco leads a solitary life. Males and females of the species tend to live in different environments throughout the year, only meeting up for the breeding season. When that time comes, Qurupeco's flock together as the males show off their flashiest dances and songs to try and impress any passing females. Once a pair finds each other, they migrate together to milder climates and build a nest somewhere up high. Here, the female lays a few eggs, which are incubated in shifts by both mother and father. Once the chicks hatch, they are taken care of by both parents until they reach nearly their adult size. The small chicks can't eat anything but insects, and will grow quickly as they feed voraciously. Impressively, Qurupeco's are born with their beak and chest pouch already fully developed, and a big part of their youth is spent practicing dancing and singing. They are helped by their parents, who teach them a few simple songs to start with. Because each Qurupeco has a unique repertoire of memorized songs and monster calls, each family lineage of Qurupeco maintains a shared canon of family classics that are passed down from parent to child and so on, in theory enabling any ambitious researcher to map out family trees between individuals by analyzing which songs they can perform. The guild has, thus far, not yet approved any large-scale research project of this kind, however. Qurupeco childhoods are not at all stress-free, though. As they practice, the chicks might, accidentally, succeed in calling a monster towards their nest. When this happens, the parents usually scare off the approaching intruder by imitating the call of a stronger, scarier monster. Incidents like these are another way for the Qurupeco chicks to learn new calls, including high difficulty ones they shouldn't have access to yet. All the dancing that the chicks do in the nest does inevitably lead to some of them stumbling and falling out of the nest. This is the #1 cause of death for Qurupeco chicks. But even for this, the parents have a solution. They can use their wide, fan-like tails to catch falling chicks if they're quick enough. Researchers have suggested that this might actually be why the tail developed this distinct shape in the first place. The guild only receives sporadic requests for Qurupeco hunts. Most of the time, it's because an individual has wandered too close to a village, where the threat of it causing a stronger monster to appear terrifies the citizenry. The calls of a Qurupeco are also extremely loud, so sometimes hunts are organized to push a noisy Qurupeco away from settlements that just want to sleep in peace. And lastly, some Qurupeco materials are highly sought after. The wing feathers in particular are valuable because they stiffen as the monster ages, making them useful for armor crafting when plucked from an older individual. But the most major impact the Qurupeco has had is on popular culture. To laymen, who have never had a horde of Jaggi summoned on them by it, the Qurupeco is a symbol of festivity and whimsy, so much so that it has begun appearing in architecture and visual design all over civilized regions. Even the guild's very own delivery service has adopted the effigy of a Qurupeco into their official uniform. Their feathers also remain an object of fascination, and there are in fact many hobbyist groups outside of the guild that aim to catalog all the different color morphs that exist within the Qurupeco species. Their reports were quite valuable to the guild academies over the years, and have even led to another discovery: a true subspecies of Qurupeco, not merely a color variation. After some proper surveys and analysis, this creature was recorded and named as Crimson Qurupeco. While the originally discovered species is green, the Crimson Qurupeco's coloration is distinctly red, with yellows and blues accenting the plumage. The chest pouch is still red as well, although some early unconfirmed reports claimed it to be azure in color. Aside from the coloration, it generally resembles its green relative. It, however, lives in different regions. The environments the Crimson Qurupeco inhabits are generally harsher than those the green species is found in, and as a result, the Crimson species is a rarer sight. What exactly caused the Crimson Qurupeco to speciate is unknown, but its appearance has given the guild some potential clues. Plumage is, alongside song and dance, a major factor in sexual selection for Qurupeco couples. A Qurupeco species changing their color entirely might imply then that this branch of the genus experienced extreme sexual competition, perhaps caused by their harsher homelands. This may have escalated into a decorative arms race, until the crimson feathers became a consistent trait of this subspecies. That is, however, all speculation at this point in time. What is certain, though, is that living in harsher environments has made the Crimson Qurupeco quite a bit more aggressive and powerful than its green cousin. Its beak can produce louder sounds, its tail swipes can cause small gusts of wind, and its body is tempered from having endured many hardships. It has also been noted that, on average, Crimson Qurupeco's can call onto much more powerful monsters than those seen with the green species. The biggest difference between the green and Crimson Qurupeco can be found in their modified wing claws. While those of the green Qurupeco were flint-like in composition, the wing claws of the Crimson species are entirely unique in their makeup. The guild calls them Volt Stones, due to their peculiar property of storing static electricity as they are shaken and moved during the Qurupeco's dances. This charge can then be released by clicking the Volt Stones together, producing an arc of lightning that can shock and stun enemies in the vicinity. This attack can also be enhanced by the Crimson Qurupeco's mucus. In addition to being flammable, it is also highly conductive, making any target doused in it even more susceptible to electrocution. The Crimson Qurupeco can also click the stones together more violently, causing the arc to intensify into a rapid flash of light, blinding any foes near it. The Crimson Qurupeco itself is notably resistant to blinding attacks. Being rare and kind of a pain to fight, Crimson Qurupeco are generally left alone by the guild and guild hunters alike. Most hunting requests that come in for it are explicitly targeted at its feathers. The red color is considered even more beautiful than anything found on the green Qurupeco, and the nobility of various kingdoms seeks out any and all objects made from Crimson Qurupeco materials. While these requests are lucrative, the guild carefully manages the quantity of those it accepts to avoid overhunting this crimson subspecies. Next time on Monster Hunter Ecology. Lounging on the coast, a menagerie of sponge. A harem enjoys a soak, while their sovereign protects their lands. I want to also thank all of my wonderful patrons and YouTube channel members. A very special thank you to Lufeish, Morgul Blank, Tacti Wolf, Thyla Zero, Glitchy, Jacob Coleman, Hellbug Hunter, Shebo, M1Have12, Regal Eagle, Ronger97, Quali, Matt Hat 124, My Name Gone, The Dollarfish, King Dre, Ryan Hook, Veraxis, Thick, Kuroneko, Zion H.V. Augensen, Alistair, Jacob the Numbnut, Soruka, Cernutnut, Evie, Rambling Robin, Hashi, Black Ace 202, Dissy, Habo Himbro Mirror, Magenta, Russell, Vulgar Beast, Person 212, Claire Miboon, Oakwood Tree, Mr. Pyramid, Makot 02, Geo, Nils Schlatter, Aaron Camel, and Nah, I'm going to bed. Thank all of you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.